Hey everyone, it's me again, MUA Black Swan, back again with another video. And no, you do not have to adjust your screen. I am glistening. This is how your foundation looks when you use the Becca Illuminating Foundation. So today I wanted to do a contouring tutorial and show y'all how I get my face, like the way it looks when I'm just doing like regular talking to you videos. That's what I'm gonna do today, and I'm gonna show you how I contour my face. But what you're seeing right now is my eyebrows are done and the foundation is on. The foundation with absolutely no highlight or contour. And I use my oldie but goodie, the Becca Illuminating Foundation and the NYX Can't Stop Won't Stop. These two together always give me a nice dewy finish. And then, you know, like it looks like, I don't know how to explain it, but other than trust the process, sis. Just trust the process. Also, for a little context, I am normal to dry skin. During the summer, I'm more oily. But right now, my skin is normal to dry. So if you have super oily skin, you probably don't want to, you should not use the illuminating foundation from Becca, because it's gonna make you look really greasy. If it's making me look shiny, it's gonna make you look like you can baste a turkey. So don't use that. You're just gonna have to do highlight tricks to give you a more dewy look, instead of mixing your foundation with stuff that doesn't necessarily go good with oily skin. You're gonna have to use illusions like powders and stuff like that, like highlights, which I'm gonna show later on in the video how you can do that. So I already have my my foundation on. It's absolutely not set in any way, shape, or form. And I am way better with liquid foundations instead of powders and creams. I personally feel like liquid foundations are more easier to manipulate. So this, and I use it on all my clients, no matter what their skin type. I just vary the type of liquid foundation. But for me, liquid foundations are just easier to manipulate than other foundations. That's just my opinion. So for the highlight, for everyday highlight with absolutely no eyeshadow, because I'm gonna really not do eyeshadow. So I'm using the Makeup Revolution's Conceal and Define Foundation. You can use whatever concealer or foundation you prefer. You do not have to use the exact one I'm using. Just use the technique. You don't have to use the product, but the technique hopefully will help you. So I'm using this. I use it in all my videos. Y'all already know what the deal is. So I'm actually not gonna put that much, okay? So just a little dot, little Instagram makeup going on right here. So I'm doing that, and then this part right here, because I do get a little mustache, like especially throughout the day when my makeup starts to really settle, my mustache likes to pop out and say what's up. I do put a good amount right here, because I don't need nobody to like clock me, honey. I don't need nobody to clock me. So I am just gonna put that there. I'm also gonna do the same on my chin, and then of course I'm gonna bring it up to my forehead, not too far up. I have a big forehead, so my forehead it really doesn't need too much extra to make it look bigger. And your highlight is gonna make that part of whatever you put it on more prominent. It's gonna make it raised, more noticeable. So my forehead part, I want the contour, the dark part, to overcome the light part, because I don't need this light part to be big, because it's gonna make the illusion of my forehead looking bigger. Okay, do you understand what I'm saying? So to make my forehead look a little smaller, we're gonna make this area not so big. So, and then also what I'm putting on the concealer or the highlight part, it's gonna be spread about because I'm gonna be blending it. So I actually could have put less on my forehead and that would have been fine. So using a Real Techniques beauty blender, dampened and then wrung out, submerged under water and then wrung out, and then also it needs to be clean, because, or at least semi-clean. If you don't have the patience to clean it, at least semi-clean, because if it's dirty from yesterday's makeup, it's not gonna be able to do its job properly. Your blend is not going to be as blended as it should be because you got all this caked up makeup on it. So me personally, I always use a clean beauty blender. I never use a dirty one. So, and then I'm patting and patting as I'm blending the highlight part out. And then the parts that I feel like are going over into the darker area that I don't want the highlight to go, I flip the beauty blender over, and this is the side I did my foundation with. I just go and calm down those corners because I want my highlight to just be here and here, right? So I don't need it to spread over my face. If I have my highlight too wide out, it's just basically just another coat of foundation, and I just want certain things highlighted. So I have that going on. Oop, wrong side. So I'm doing that. I'm doing that, and I'm just gonna keep tapping. And then also, when I'm tapping it, I'm making sure I'm getting all into the crevices. Like, I'm actually touching the inner corner of my eye right here. Because leaving blank spots takes away from the illusion that it's skin. And you have patches. And if you get a lot of creasing under your eye, you're just gonna have to make sure that you are buffing out those creases before you go to your next steps. So if you have to keep going back and buffing it out before you set, that's just what you have to do. Because I noticed some people are like, oh, this product doesn't crease on me. But some people, even though you have a product that doesn't necessarily crease, it might crease on other people because they have deep set-in wrinkles. So it might not be the product, it might actually be just your skin and your technique. So even though some people claim that it's not crease free, I've never met a product that just doesn't crease on absolutely nobody. Okay, because trust me, I've tried it on, and I've tried it on a lot of people. So if you have a product and it doesn't crease on you, that is great. Keep that product, but it's a slippery slope when you start recommending it to other people, especially other people like myself with deep set-in creases and bags under their eyes, because even the best products sometimes will still crease. So you just have to switch up the technique. You don't have to go out and keep buying new stuff. You can just switch up the technique. Okay, and then this has nothing to do with contouring, but you know sometimes you get the caked up nose right here. This part right here before you set is the part where you can stop that from happening. So pay attention to this part on your nose, right? This little curve part where it dips in, and make sure that the foundation is not caking up. Like, take your beauty blender and mush it in. Some people, this nostril part comes out wider, and so the foundation is naturally just gonna collect underneath there. What you do is you actually take your nose and you move it out the way so you can smooth that over. I've had clients where I just move their nose out the way and then it comes out just fine. So you just gotta move your nose out the way, just do it. I mean, like, if it's gonna give you the result that you want, do what you gotta do. So just patting that into my nose. Pat, 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 pat. And yes, your beauty blender matters. You see how it kind of spread out? So I'm gonna flip it over and then buff out these edges. You know how you gotta lay your edges in your wig? You gotta lay your edges with the concealer. You gotta do the same thing. You gotta make sure the edges is laid. Your beauty blender that you use makes a difference. Makes a big difference. One of my really good friends, she showed me her beauty blender. She's like, I don't know why my foundation doesn't work. I picked up that thing. That thing was a rock, honey. It was solid as a rock. It was very hard. Even when it was wet, it was still hard. So you want to use one with more buoyancy. If it's hard, you might as well just be taking this right here and trying to work out your makeup, because like it's not gonna blend nothing in if it's an actual hard beauty blender. So, and the ones that I always recommend, the beauty blends I always recommend is the Real Technique one, the orange ones, because sometimes Real Techniques have other ones that are different colors, and I noticed that some of them are a different texture. So I don't know what that's about, but the orange ones always get me right. And also the Real Beauty Blender. The Real Beauty Blender, I feel like it's the first choice recommendation, but if you're balling on a budget like me, you can't afford a $20 beauty blender all the time. So this one does the job, and if you have a little extra coinage in your pocket, get the Real Beauty Blender. And yes, I know the Sephora brand blender, people on the Morphe brand blender, people always swear by it. Me personally, I don't like those. I feel like they don't do the same job as this one and the Real Beauty Blender. That's just my opinion. If it works for you, keep using it. But in my opinion, I feel like those don't work as good. Some of them can work, they're passable, but girl, we're still clocking you. You're not doing the job you need to be doing. So all this is blended out, right? So for me, I don't use cream for the contour because I just feel like it's just another layer of foundation you're putting on your face. So instead of doing that, I set my face, which I'm gonna do right now. I set it and I use a powder. When I'm doing 2 steps in one when I'm contouring, and I'll show you that after I set the rest of my face. So I'm buffing out these wrinkles once again, buffing them out, making sure all that's smoothed out. And then I'm gonna take my Sasha loose setting powder and I'm gonna press this in. I'm gonna press this in. I'm gonna make sure it's evenly distributed. Because first of all, we need this stuff to go in and do its job, because I'm be wearing this hardcore today. So I know I'm gonna be doing a little sweating. And then remember when I told you about the whole nose thing, how it cakes up? Make sure that the powder is not doing this. See how it's like going around? Move your nose over, honey, and make sure it's in there evenly. Okay? And then also make sure your lines are not harsh. Even with the setting powder, make sure your lines are not harsh. Okay, so you see how this part down here is not set, right? So hold on, let me get my nose and my forehead first. Okay, so I'm just setting my T-zones, right? And up into my forehead. See how I'm making sure the lines are not harsh around that too? So I'm making sure all that is set, it's even. I'm not too worried about the nose because the nose contour be so serious. So I have that done. Now, to set this section right here, I'm gonna set it. Notice I'm not gonna set this right here because that's where my contour powder is gonna go. I'm gonna contour and set this middle part. So you got your hamburger buns right here. This part right here is the meat. I'm not setting the meat. So I have that, and I'm actually gonna take this powder and my angled blush brush or blush brush. It doesn't matter, it can be any blush brush. And I'm just gonna sweep the setting powder on right here. I don't want to set too harsh because it's not that kind of look. Because if you set this too sharp, you turn it into a whole evening look. Okay, so you see how this part is still shiny because it's not set? That's what I want. Because that's where my contour powder is going to go. So all the parts where my contour powder is going to lay, like here, around here, and right here, I'm not setting that part. Okay, so now I'm going to start knocking this part off. I'm going to start sweeping away the excess. And as I'm sweeping away the I can't talk today. The excess powder, as I'm sweeping that off, I'm gonna actually set my eyelid with the excess powder of the excess. Whoo! Dyslexia, you get me right today. All right, so I'm actually gonna take the extra powder that is being knocked off, and I'm gonna sweep it into my eyelid to set that just a little bit. It's not completely set, but it's gonna help it. Because the eyelids, especially if you're not putting eyeshadows, they have a tendency of creasing throughout the day. So this is gonna further help that from happening. And then my forehead. I'm just gonna circle it out because I still need them lines not to be there. If you do not have the Sacha Buttercup powder like I do, the Laura Mercier translucent powder works extremely well on most skin types. I haven't had a client it didn't work good on, but it is on the more pricier side. Now, you can also use Airspun. They sell that at Walgreens. So if you're of a fair complexion, you can use the translucent Airspun. If you are a medium to darker complexion, then use the medium tone loose setting powder. And then also, when you use that powder, don't press it in because that powder is very thick and it can go from cute to ghostly real quick. So if you're using Airspun, don't press it. You don't have to because that absorbs a lot. Like it will take all the moisture out of your face, and some of that moisture you don't want to be taken out of your face. So that's why the Laura Mercier, you're paying a little more, but it's more hydrating. Wait a minute, I almost forgot. Okay, forget the Laura Mercier. You can get the L'Oreal Hydra Perfect Loose Setting Powder. They sell it at Walmart. That does the same thing as Laura Mercier. So if you're not on that Laura Mercier $40 for some loose setting powder budget, go to Walmart and get the $7 the L'Oreal Hydra Perfect Loose Setting Powder. It comes in 3 different tones, okay? So go with your tone and you good to go, okay? So, and then also in that powder, if you are a medium to deeper complexion, do not get the translucent, okay? Because it's gonna look white. I don't know why it's gonna look white. So don't get the translucent. Go ahead and get the medium shade if you are medium to deeper skin or like an olive skin tone or whatever. So do that, and then you should be good. So what did I recommend? The Sacha Buttercup is always really good. The L'Oreal Hydra Perfect Loose Setting Powder is really good. Airspun is good. It's a little bit of a science, but it's really good. And if you're balling, then get the Laura Mercier. So that's all on you, how you want to do it. Okay, so now on to the contour. One, I'm going to use Ruby Kisses. Honestly, it doesn't really matter what brand. You just want to make sure you got the right undertone. So if you're medium to dark shades or like a golden shade, then you want to go with a more warmer tone. If you have like a green or a purple undertone, you want to do a cool tone contour. So I think I'm probably gonna have to do a video on that because that's something you really can't just glaze over if somebody doesn't understand undertones. I'm gonna take a pretty deep shade because I want y'all to see it. So I'm gonna go here. These are not labeled. If you don't have this palette, just get some drugstore Queen line bronze powder, because the CoverGirl Queen line has really good warm powders, and then bronzing powders are gorgeous. And then also, if you have a little more coin in your pocket, you can get the Anastasia Beverly Hills contour set. That is amazing. Like, Anastasia Beverly Hills, their contour sets are really, really good. And let me think of another good buy. Black Opal, for all shades, they have really, really good foundation powders, because it doesn't have to say bronzer or contour. You can actually use a foundation powder or like a setting powder. You just need that undertone. That's all you need. So they have really, really good ones because they have warm and cool undertones in those powders. So if you have access to Black Opal, that's a good one right there. So for my contour powder, let me use a smaller brush so you can see where I'm actually placing it. I'm putting it exactly where it is not set. So you see it's a little shiny right here. I'm putting it right there. So I'm setting it and I'm contouring at the same time. And then I'm doing small circles upward. So you see I have the shadow. I can make a shadow right here. And then if it's hard for you to find where to start your contour, then you can look down and then you can see your line. You see how you can kind of see right here? The indentation, that's where your contour is gonna go. I'm just gonna keep doing circles. So I'm taking my contour and I'm putting it here and I'm moving it all the way up. I'm gonna take it all the way around here. I'm gonna do the same. I have a strong jawline, so I really don't have to take it here. If I feel like my foundation is not blended out, I'll go ahead and brush a little bit just so I can make sure everything is blended out. But other than that, I really don't do heavy contouring on my chin because it doesn't need it. Now, if you don't have a defined chin line, go ahead and you can do the I think Kim Kardashian said it. She does a 3. So she does it here, here, and then she brings it down here. So you can go ahead and do the 3. But if you have a strong jawline, you don't have to do it because it's just gonna make your jawline that more pronounced, and you really don't need that because God already gave you contour. And then as I'm doing before, as I'm doing it, as I'm buffing everything out, I'm making sure that I am laying my edges. All these edges, you see how you can kind of see it right here? I gotta make sure that you don't see that when I'm done. And this part sometimes takes me a long time because, you know, you gotta make sure you're blended, honey. Because this part can kind of make or break you. And yeah, I do take the powder into my eyelid. Because sometimes it's right here. It looks funny when there's like a gap between the contour, your foundation, and like the highlight, right? Or like the lighter color on your eyelid. So I just go ahead and blend that together. Without putting more product, I go ahead and buff it out. And then move it into my eye area. Okay, so this is where my medium to big brushes come into play. Because I don't want this line right here. I don't need you to see that. It's not blended. So I take a bigger brush without any more product, or if it's really bad, I'll put just a dab of bronzing powder on it, and then I'll just start taking it into the lighter part. And so I'm just swiping all over my forehead because I just need this part right here to be smooth. And contouring sometimes can be a little frustrating, and mostly it's because of your lighting. So if your bathroom doesn't have that good of lighting, you probably need to move towards a window, or you might need to go and get you some better lighting. IKEA has them energy efficient light bulbs, and those actually mimic natural light very, very well. So, and I think it's like $5 for a pack. So that's really good. But other than that, you just have to keep playing around with your lighting and see what lighting, if you don't have access to a window. I think we all got access to a window, but some people, their windows are not placed in a way where they can do their makeup in front of it. So doing that, I'm just going back. I'm not adding no more product to my face. This is no more bronzer. I'm just taking this brush and I'm just blending out the edges. Okay? So this is it. This is how my contour is going to turn out, which is just, more than anything, it's about the blending for your contour. More than anything else. Because sometimes I'll put contour powders on and they necessarily are really not good. They're not good undertones for my skin. But I'll just keep blending it out. I'll keep blending, so it's more subtle, and it's still gonna work. I can still make it work because I blended it out. Okay? When in doubt, keep blending. When it comes to makeup, when in doubt, just keep blending, honey. Keep blending it. I started off with my Real Techniques brush, and this is a Morphe brush, and it is not numbered. Thanks, Morphe. It's not numbered, so I really can't tell you what brush it is. But if you don't, is this makeup? Yeah. If you don't have access to either one of those, e.l.f. blush brushes work just fine. Blush brushes that have the black handle, they work magnificent, and they're very durable, because I've had some of my e.l.f. brushes like for years now, and they have not shed or tore up. So I'm going to use this blush that I got from NYX, and it's Double Dare, and I'm going to use the same brush that I used earlier. I'm going to use this one. And for the blush, I'm going to place it, okay? Tap, tap, tap. I'm going to place it right on the border of where my contour is fading out. And I'm going to take it just a little bit down into my contour, just a little bit, okay? So the blush is going to sit right here. See where his hand is? It's going to sit right here. So when I'm placing it, hold on. I'm going to place it right here. Okay? Now, if you want to add more warmth to your face, as you're blending out your brush, using circular motions, you can bring it up to your temples. Okay? And with your goodness, I can't talk. With your blush, you do want to use more of a light hand, okay? So, tapping it, if I feel like I got too much on, take some of it off. Because going heavy on the blush can really mess up a good base in your foundation. It can really kind of like jack up your look. Because too much blush, you go from looking like a Victoria's Secret model to that woman in church with coffee candy in her purse. So that's there. Okay. And also with your highlight, a cool little trick to make it look a little more gradient, or like to just step your highlight game up a little bit. You see how I have this orange blush? If you have a highlight that complements the color orange, put that on. So if you have like a peachy tone or a golden tone, you can mix it with like a champagne or something, or like maybe like more of like in between peak and peach tone type of highlight. Put it with this, okay? And then it's gonna complement the blush, if I'm making any sense. So try to use highlight that complements the blush, and then it just all mixes together really, really good. So if you don't have it, you're fine. Don't worry about it. So this Becky G has a hint of, just a tiny, tiny hint of peach. So it will go with this orange. So I'm just gonna take it and I'm gonna start dusting this on the part of my cheek that pokes out the most, okay? So it's on here, right? I'm actually gonna take it into my cheekbone. So the highest points of that side of my face. Okay, so I'm gonna wipe, I'm actually wiping some of the highlight off, right? Because I'm gonna start blending it out. So small circular motions. I'm gonna start to blend that. I'm gonna start calming down them edges. Most of y'all can do this stuff and y'all have dope products. Cause a lot of y'all like, I don't know what to use. And then I'm like, okay, send me your makeup kit. Let me see what you got up in there. And y'all be happy. Y'all makeup kits be outshining mine. I'm like, golly, she got some dope stuff. It's just, you know, you gotta sit there and you gotta blend it. Like, you might actually even have the right foundation and all that kind of stuff. Like, you actually might have stuff that is really, really good, but you're not taking the time to blend it. And, you know, make sure your edges are laid. Now this is every day. Now, if you know, so you want a little pop. So this is the everyday, and so this is basically how the highlight is gonna look. As it settles, it can give you more of a dewier, like, oh, my skin's real healthy look. So as I was saying earlier, if your skin is oily and you want to have a dewy look, and you know you can't mix it with stuff like this, mix your foundation with stuff like this because you do have oily skin, you're gonna do highlight tricks to give the illusion that your skin is dewy, okay? Which is basically, you're gonna put your highlight on just like normal, but then you're gonna start bringing it up to other places. Like, you're gonna go ahead and bring it up to the side of your temples, bring it to the side of your temples. If you don't have, if you can, or if you feel comfortable doing it, because right now I have a really big forehead, so this is not exactly a thing that I like to do because it brings more attention to my forehead, but you can actually sweep a little here on your forehead, just a little bit. Just put a little taste. Okay. So that's there. I do need to get some of these lines out the way. So you see now it just looks more glowy. And also, if you don't blend it out as much, it's not gonna make your skin look as dewy. I guess you can say. So now we're gonna do nose contour. And using the same palette, I'm gonna use the same contour color that I'm putting on my cheeks, or that you're gonna put on your cheeks, you can put on your nose. So I'm gonna use that. A medium or small size blending brush, and I'm gonna look, if I don't know where to contour my nose, I'm gonna look down. I can see where my nose, I can see the line that I want now. You can see how my nose curves into my eye socket. That's the line that's the guideline that I want. Now, because I contour my nose a lot, and I pretty much am very comfortable with my face, I'll change up my contour sometimes. Sometimes I'll make it wider, sometimes I'll make it more narrow. But if you don't know, that's a good guideline to go by. And then what I'll do is, especially clients who really don't like nose contour, I'll still do the contour on their nose, because the definition really does bring the look together. But I'll just take it here and then sweep it into their eye, so they can't even really tell it's contoured. And then I'll make sure it's blended out very, very well. Hence why That's why, hence why I use a medium or small blending brush, because I need this to be buffed out. So it's placed on there, and then you gotta keep blending it out. Blend, 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 blend. Now I'm gonna take that same contour color, I'm gonna put it on my eyelid, girl, because it's gonna also it's not only gonna give me more color, just a hint of color, it's also gonna help set the creases of my eye, because remember, we got foundation and concealer on our eyelid. So it's gonna look crazy if your whole face is set and then your eyelid got creases in it. And then I take the powder, and then without adding more powder, I just start blending the bottom of my nose, the bottom portion of my nose. So you won't see like any lines. I need everything to just flow into one another. Okay? Okay, so basically, this is your contour and highlight. And then, you know, if you're like me, you're gonna want a little extra, so I'll probably add some lashes on. Lip gloss is a must, because I got something on my lips, because, you know, you got just plain lips. So let's add a little lip gloss. This is basically the look. I gotta find some mascara. I ran out, so I gotta go find some. I'll see y'all in the next video. Thank y'all for watching. Please like, subscribe, and comment down below. I love you guys. Bye.